Hello, my name is Raoul Straathof from KatanaPIM. Today we'll talk about Webshop Migration and we'll do that together with our partner Kega. I'd like to introduce Stefan.
My name is Stefan Jong. I'm at Kega now for 14 years. I'm a digital strategist and digital consultant, mainly working in the fields of e-commerce and retail.
Stefan, you work closely together and you help clients migrate their webshops. Can you tell a little bit about some real life examples that you experienced that are nice to share?
Yeah, I think a nice one to share is BikeTotaal, Dutch cycling retailer. They have 200 stores or so in the Netherlands, and they needed to migrate from their previous platform. So I think that's a great example.
Yeah, sure. That's a client that we did together with KatanaPIM.
Yep.
What are some of the challenges that they ran into?
I think the main challenge for them was time. They were rebranding. They were even integrating two formulas into one. So there was a strict deadline because, of course, the whole migration of the brand was rolled out in a certain date. I thought it was somewhere in January or February, and everything like the website had to be ready for that. So that was the main challenge. Time. It was a solid deadline.
Yeah. So when you have a challenge on time, I think then you have to make difficult choices because maybe your end goal is not feasible anymore.
Yep.
So how do you handle that process with the client?
Of course, with every project you start, there's a huge backlog or there's a huge wish list of all functionalities or that the client wants. And what we try to do is make it as small as possible. I mean, like moving towards MVP, like what is the minimal you really need to go live? And everything else that's not really necessary at that point, we can move it to the backlog, so they can be picked up later. So that's what we did. We did go live, but there was still this huge wish list, and that's the things we did in the past year. Yeah, almost year. Yeah.
So it's making hard decisions also for the client, because then you have to make sure you cannot make it to a certain point. You have to make a hard decision.
Yep.
Who is mostly involved from a client side making those decisions?
It should be the product owner.
It should be the product owner.
Yeah, but unfortunately, a true product owner would be able to make all those decisions, but not in all cases. That's the real world. Because of course there's stakeholders internally at the client side, and you can see that the proxy owner the product owner sometimes is more like a proxy product owner than the real one, because they are just telling us what to do instead of making the decisions of their own. But it should be the product owner.
Yeah. So if I'm a company and I'm looking into Webshop Migration, is then one of the big keys to success also to look at my internal stakeholders who could be a good product owner or a good proxy product owner handling also the responsibility?
If you want to work with us, we can't work if you don't have we can't work together if you don't have a good product owner. That's our single point of contact for the whole process, and we need someone there to manage the internal stakeholders to decide what we need to do, because if we start a project, we work in an agile way. So we have several sprints, and before we decide what to take up in the sprint, of course the product owner needs to decide what's it going to be. And of course the wishes will vary in the more the project progresses. There will be new wishes, etc. So before we start, the product owner needs to decide what's going to be in that sprint. And if new wishes come up, then it should be managed. And that's up to the product owner to manage all the stakeholders, so the project won't grow. So no additional sprints are necessary, and we can still make the deadline. Of course, we can grant all the wishes, but we do it after the go live.
Yeah, so that's making that hard decisions, and that's also managing the stakeholder management from the product owner inside the company itself.
Yeah, it's maybe the toughest job in the whole project. We can build, but we need to know what we need to build, and that's up to the product owner to make sure that they that it's a clear what we need to do.
Yeah. And another question is, because a web shop is just one source or one solution into the whole grand scheme of the IT landscape for a company. Your colleague Joachim already mentioned you work a lot with Composable Commerce, so I know Alumio is one of the solutions that you're working with. What are the challenges that you see in migrating to a different web shop, having a whole standard ecosystem already set up with a PIM, with an ERP, everything else?
Let me think. What is the main challenge? I think, well, if you already have a complete setup and you already have all those integrations, but I guess you mean like you have now integrated in that directly into the ecom platform, and now you want to break it up into a more headless composable setup?
Yeah, let's take BikeTotaal for instance. So BikeTotaal, they came to you for Webshop Migration, but at the same time they're also implementing a PIM.
Yep.
And they already had an existing IT infrastructure within a composer, Alumio in between. They had an ERP solution. I think they even had a WMS.
Yeah.
I think that could be a challenge there for getting the front end ready, getting the back ends ready, but at the same time making sure that whole IT landscape keeps running.
The challenge is usually in time. If you look, I'm not sure what happened to BikeTotaal, but usually you have the back end, of course, in the front end. We can build the front end in less than 3 months. That's no issue. But where we see what the issues are in terms of time are usually content creation or content migration, and of course the whole backend setup and the integration. Well, but if you've done it previously, the APIs don't change, then it is only a matter of migrating them to the integration platform and setting that up. So if you keep everything the same, just migrating the front end and maybe some new additional tools, then it's easy. But we also have clients that are migrating like the ecom platform, the ERP system, front end, everything at the same time. Yeah. And then you have a tough job.
Yeah, then the project becomes very big, and then that project manager, project owner is very important.
But we would never recommend to do everything at once. We would always say, just take your time, cut it up in smaller pieces, and start with the main one, the most important one for your business at that point, and do everything else.
Then the things will follow. So I think then the setting of the priorities, what you want to focus on first. Is that more important than looking at the time of implementation? Because some migrations of systems will take a lot longer than some others.
Yeah, but we always try to plan, like we always have a parallel, the front and back end in parallel in development. So we start as soon as possible, so product information can be entered, and would usually take up the integration in a later phase.
Okay.
But there's a lot of parameters there that vary per project, but it's all it's something you really need to focus on before you start.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much. And what is the advice that you would give companies that are now looking into a webshop migration? What are the key takeaways that you can give them on an operational level?
Yeah, if you're migrating in 2024 or 2025, I should say probably, don't migrate everything at once. What we currently see, not going headless isn't an option, I guess, in 2025. So what we would advise is start with a headless solution, see what's needed. Maybe you still could reuse your current ecom platform for a bit. Just start with a nice new CMS and a new search and merchandising solution, and with an integration platform. Maybe attach the PIM and see if you still have that ecom platform. Maybe you want to switch to a different one, but it's not all that necessary. And switching the ecom platform, that's the major thing use.
Yeah. And how important is it to select the right tooling over the right partner?
I think it's more important to select the right partner first and then select the tooling. Of course, it's me talking from Kega, but what we do, we won't sell you just one solution. We, together with our clients, we look at what type of software solutions would fit the client best.
Yeah.
So we work with multiple e-com platforms, multiple CMSs, multiple search and merchandise solutions, multiple PIM solutions, and there we try to get the best fit and to help the client. Because if you look into the world of MAG, so cloud solutions and microservices, there's a lot there, and there's also a lot there that probably won't fit your company. And we already know the market quite good. So yeah, I would also say start with a great partner.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.